Well, today you're going to hear probably the weirdest watch story ever, or the weirdest watch review. At the end of this review, you're probably going to say, man, now I've heard it all. And this review is about this watch. This is a Tag Heuer Carrera. Let me show it to you. It's got a value movement, 7750. And it's a chronograph, of course. I have it on this rally strap. And now, in this review, I'm going to talk about why I think this watch is either punishment from the gods, karma, or my bad financial decisions, or I don't know what it is. Well, to start with, I'm going to tell you guys how I ended up with this watch. This watch was in a pawn shop for about 2 years. I remember the first time I saw it, I liked it because it was a Tag Heuer Carrera, and it's a brand that I've heard of. It's a movement that I like, and when I saw it in the case, I really liked it. But they wanted like $2,000 for it, and then a few months later, it was like $1,500 down to $1,000. And one day I walked in there, and it was on sale. The lady said, "We just put it on sale, like an hour ago for $500." And I said, "I'll do $500 out the door." And she said, "Yeah, okay." And that's how I bought it. But at that point in my life, I was finishing a commercial contract that I was doing, commercial building, and I was almost out of funds, and I still had to finish the project. I was going to get some money at the end, of course, my final draw. But at this moment, I was not supposed to be spending money. The money, I did have enough money to finish the project, but barely. So this money I was not supposed to spend. But like anything else, where a lot of us are watch addicts, or we make decisions that are not very smart sometimes. And it's not just watches, it's many things in life. But in this case, it was this watch. And I bought the watch, and I lived with my decision. I mean, I did okay. The contract, turned out okay. We finished the project. Everything worked out okay. But it was too risky. It was something I was not supposed to do. And as a contractor, as somebody that's build stuff, if you guys ever done it, you're not supposed to use that money. That money is sacred. But I used it. So I brought the watch home, and I told my wife, listen, I bought this watch, this and that, and it was $2,000. I got it for $500. And she said, "But why are you spending the money that you're not supposed to spend? You don't have money for that." And I knew I didn't have money for that, and I knew it. I've never been really too dumb with money, so I knew it. But it was just one of those things that I did. So fortunately, the contract worked out okay. Everything worked out okay. But now I had this watch, and I started wearing it. And honestly, since I first started wearing it, I convinced myself that I liked it because I had spent the money that I was not supposed to spend. So in my mind, I convinced myself that I liked it. But as time went by, I realized I really didn't like it. This is a watch that, even though it's only 41 millimeters, and I have a 7-inch wrist, it just doesn't feel right on my wrist. Anytime I wear it, it doesn't feel right on my wrist. The pushers are too far out. It's one of those watches that when I wear it, my wrist is always tired in my hand because I'm protecting it, moving it all the time, and it's just an uncomfortable watch. This is a watch that when I wear, it's just really uncomfortable. At the end of the day, I'm so glad to take it off, and that's partly because I don't like it. And there's nothing wrong with the watch. The movement is great. It's a great movement. Value 7750 is a movement that I've serviced many times. It's really reliable. It's really good. And there's a lot of more expensive watches that have this movement. So it's not the movement. It's not the brand. I do own other tags. My wife actually owns a Tag Aqua Racer. That's her watch that she wears all the time. I have this Formula One quartz that I wear a lot. I mean, this is a good watch. It's got a bezel on it. So it's not that it's a tag. As a matter of fact, I bought it because it was a Tag Carrera. I have no issue with tag. I know a lot of people hate it. I have no issue with tag. But I was always convincing myself that I liked the watch. But I do have other chronographs. For example, I do have this. This is a Porsche design. Now, this is also 41 millimeters, same size. But if you look at these two watches next to each other, you'll see there's a big difference. Just this dial looks so much bigger because the bezel is so much smaller. Now, this watch has a lot of detail on it that gives it a more, I don't know, a more interesting look, or a look that's just, I can't even explain it. It's just more appealing to me, this watch. Then I also have this watch that is a CMEX. that is also a Value Sense M50. You know, this is also the same movement, but this got the olive green dial with the blue. I'm sorry, with the yellow sub dials. And even though this is a 44 millimeter, I think it looks better on my 7-inch wrist than the 41, just because the bezel's so much bigger and the dial ends up being smaller than even this 41. So you can see it. This, even on the video, this seems a little bigger than this, but this is 44, this is 41. So, needless to say, eventually I stopped wearing it. I just stopped wearing it. I had other watches that I'd rather wear. And one day I decided, you know what, I'm just going to sell it. And I told my wife, you know what, I'm going to sell the Carrera. It's not a watch I like. And she said, oh, you better not sell it. She said, that's my favorite watch. And I'm not worried about her because she doesn't watch my videos, so she'll never hear about the story unless somebody tells her. But none of my friends watch these videos because nobody's into watches. So anyways, so she said, you better not sell it. Said, why not? She said, that's my favorite watch. And, you know, I told her, but I don't like it. It's just, I don't wear it. It's just sitting there. They said, oh, you better not sell it. And then one day I told her, you know what? I'm not going to sell it. You can have it. You wear it. And then she said, well, it's too big for me. I said, well, that's what I've been saying. It's too big for me too. That's why I don't like it, because I don't like it. It's too big. Even though it's not big, it just feels big. So anyways, like I said, this is the weirdest watch review ever. It's a good watch. There's nothing wrong with the watch. It's just my taste has probably changed, or maybe I convinced myself that I wanted it, and at the end I didn't want it. And it's like everything else. I don't wear chronographs that much anymore. A lot of us that are into watches, we start liking one thing, either divers watches or dress watches or chronographs or other sports watches. And then a lot of us evolve. Some of us like watch bands, and we transition into steel bands. And there's a lot of changes in liking watches and in the hobby. But one thing that I know is that I was not supposed to buy that watch. And I think karma's got me, or either my wife is just being mean to me, or something's going on, or the watch gods didn't like what I did, or something happened where now I'm stuck with this watch. It has no sentimental value to me, honestly. It's an interesting story that I bought it when I was not supposed to buy it, which is kind of a dumb story, but it's the story behind it. But now I can't get rid of it. So now I'm stuck with this watch. It's a good watch. I'm stuck with it. I'll probably have it forever. And I know what somebody may be thinking is, why do you got to listen to your wife? It's your watch. Sell it. Well, I'd rather keep the watch than have a little bit of money and hear it for years. You know, why did you sell it? It was my favorite watch, and you should have never done that. And anybody's ever had a wife, you know, you'll be hearing it for years. And how much money can I possibly get that's worth, you know, that? If you look at this watch, I'll show you guys here I can see the monitor here, and this watch next to each other. You can, even from a distance, you can see it's just so plain. This dial's so plain. This one's just more interesting. So I think it's because I just don't like the watch. But now I'm stuck with it. And like I said, this is the weirdest watch review you've probably ever heard. And now you're going to think, well, no, now I've heard it all. But, well, there's more out there. Trust me. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next video.